Hello, and welcome to another episode of Proactive Parenting. Remember, this is a judgment-free space to learn how to raise value-driven kids in a way that's right for your family, using the most current scientific research out there. I'm your host, Dr. Deanna Marie Mason. I'm a certified pediatric nurse practitioner, published author, and a professional who has devoted my career to studying and using child development to help parents manage childhood issues. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and settle in to learn something new about your child, because when we know better, we do better. Today's topic is a hot one because it deals with video game addiction. Internet gaming, also known as online video games, is an evolving activity that many children and teens are playing and becoming addicted to. The World Health Organization, or WHO, just recognized that gaming can be an addiction, while the American Psychiatric Association Professional Guide to Mental Health, called the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Illnesses, or the DSM-6, only included gaming addiction in their latest updates. However, both the WHO and the APA are monitoring how these activities are becoming overwhelming for some people and interfering with their daily lives. It's important to understand what playing video games means. At one time, it was simple and related to physical games that were played on a console connected to a home television. However, video games have expanded extensively and are now internet-based. There are two main types of online video games: massively multiplayer online games and multiplayer on games role-playing games. And I'll be honest, while I get lost because so many new games are launched and players' preferences change, at the time of this podcast, some of the most popular games currently are called Fortnite, Call of Duty, PUBG, Final Fantasy, and Mortal Kombat. Both of these types of video games, the role-playing games and the online games, allow children and teens to play with lots of other people all around the globe. The games tend to be role-playing games, first-person shooter games, so the player is shooting at others from the perspective of the person holding the gun, and real-time strategy games in which multiple players organize themselves, create strategies, and execute plays as a group to advance in the game. This online gaming environment allows kids and teens to socialize and immerse themselves in a fantasy world. The games are developed to reward players who play more. Longer and more successful play may lead to more powers in the fantasy world, more leadership roles among other players, and feelings of success and power. The online real-time nature of the games allows players to interact directly with others, socialize, and gain a reputation and admiration from other players. For most children and teens, this fantasy environment is a fun place to visit and socialize. However, there are children and teens who feel compelled to connect to their online games. These children often have difficulty in stopping play and play for extended periods of time without any desires to re-enter normal society. This includes not wanting to stop to eat or sleep, to be with their families, or to go to school. When children and teens start to show these types of behaviors around playing video games, they may be developing an addiction. Research has shown that internet gaming has been associated with negative consequences for addicted users, such as sacrificing real-life relationships for online relationships, insufficient sleep, missing school, or poor school performance. Additionally, addicts report an obsession with gaming, problems with verbal memory, aggression and hostility, stress, and dysfunctional relationships in real life. Together, this often leads to a lower sense of well-being and loneliness. They find the slower, less stimulating nature of real-life interactions less interesting than the fast, vibrant nature of the online fantasy realm. Children or teens should be evaluated for dependency or addiction to internet gaming normally have one or more of the following characteristics. The first is an obsession with talking about gaming. They want to play continuously and are unable to stop playing independently. They only stop when a parent makes them disconnect from the game. The next sign is that the child begins to use the gaming world as an escape from the normal stresses of daily life. These children generally become enraptured or captivated when they are connected to the game. The third characteristic is that they develop a tolerance so that more and more game time is necessary to fully relax. A fourth characteristic is that the child feels anxious, depressed, or angry if they cannot play or their play is interrupted. This might lead to conflicts with parents when parents try to put limits on the amount of time their child is online playing, or when they ask their child to engage in a different activity that doesn't include playing video games. Other common characteristics is that parents start seeing their child have negative consequences as a result of their internet gaming, such as poorer school performance, insufficient sleep, and relationship issues. And finally, another sign is when children cannot stop playing independently and will sneak gaming time when limits are trying to be set. To be clear, if your teen or child is showing some or all of these signs, it does not mean that they're addicted. However, it does point to an unhealthy relationship with video games. It may mean that they need help to balance their gaming time with other healthier activities. You might be wondering what is happening to your child's brain that makes them want to play so much and for so long. Well, these behaviors stem from changes in the child's brain from the stimulation of the gaming. This brain activity is related to how feelings of reward, motivation, and memory are affected. The social interaction, bright flashing lights on the screen, intense sounds, and superhero qualities that the characters in the game possess are very stimulating and all-consuming. Their brains perceive this false online world to be, in most effects, real. The wins give them euphoria, and the losses really hurt. They scream and celebrate with the other members as if they were physically together. The brain does not distinguish between the real world and this fantasy environment. The experience feels completely real. A child or adolescent's brain development, where they are cognitively and emotionally, allows for this fantasy world to saturate their real experience. And this can create a feeling of a deep drive to get the high that comes from gaming. Some children and teens may lose control at some point in their ability to limit themselves and keep the boundary between real and fantasy. Additionally, for children and teens who encounter social awkwardness, the fantasy environment gives them an opportunity to present a different face to the world. For these children, the social aspects and peer recognition that occur in the virtual gaming environment can be preferable to the uncomfortableness of interacting with peers in real life. So you may be thinking, what can parents do to protect their children from internet gaming addictions? Luckily, researchers have found a few easy strategies to help lessen the risks. The first is to not use video games, the internet, or social networks as a free babysitter. It can be really easy as a parent to push technology into our children's lives because we feel that our children will be left behind or left out if we don't give them access. And it's very easy to put a computer, tablet, or phone into a child's hand and watch them sit silently for long periods so we can do other things. However, all major pediatric organizations recommend that children limit screen time. Children and teens benefit from using their free time developing skills through imagery, play, sport, music, reading, writing, or just lying around and getting bored. Next, we need to teach our children how to safely use the internet, including internet gaming. Not all parents understand the dangers of the internet or the ability and competence of their children to navigate the internet and participate in internet gaming. As parents, we should focus on setting limits and boundaries with our children prior to allowing them access to the internet. It's important to discuss what to do if something doesn't seem right, like someone's asking for personal details, such as an address or requesting nude pictures to be sent via direct messaging or DMs. And as parents, we need to know how to monitor our children's devices. Having access to review their messages, emails, and other communications is vital to protecting our children. Their lack of life experience and still developing cognitive ability of abstract thought makes them prime subjects for abuse online. Being able to turn on parental controls, setting time limits, monitoring browsing histories, reviewing social network accounts is vital to protect our children from danger. As minors, they don't truly have the right to full privacy when they are at risk for harm online. It is our responsibility as parents to protect our children both in the real and virtual world. Another thing we can do is encourage other activities away from screens. Getting our kids involved in activities such as sports or clubs can help them develop social skills in real life and interact with different adults to help guide them. As a family, we can choose activities that get everyone out of the house, such as bowling, taking a walk, or visiting the library to grab some books. Anything that helps the family disconnect from screens has been shown to improve the mental health of the family members. Everyone, kids and adults. Additionally, we can also limit the time that children and teens play online. Teaching children limits from an early age can help them naturally incorporate self-limitation into their lives. All you need to do this is to set rules and enforce them consistently. Children learn quickly when the limits are consistently set. And finally, knowing the warning signs of addiction and being on the lookout for them is helpful. Some warning signs that parents should watch for include lowered school performance, sleepiness from late night playing, lying about the amount of time that they've played, failing to do homework, avoiding social interactions in order to play video games, being obsessed with gaming, and becoming hostile or aggressive when unable to play or when they're asked to stop. If parents see any of these signs, it may be a good idea to contact their healthcare provider for support and guidance. Internet gaming affects children differently. Not all children and teens who online game will become addicted. However, there is research that shows that internet gaming addictions do exist and have negative consequences for children. As parents, we can be proactive by monitoring our children's online presence, setting limits consistently, and supporting our children to participate in other activities that contribute to healthy growth and development. With a proactive perspective, parents can help their children enjoy the excitement of internet gaming while minimizing the risks. Playing video games is a common activity for many children and teens. There's nothing implicitly negative about this hobby. The only thing to keep in mind is when our children or teen starts to choose gaming instead of participating in real life. Being aware of gaming addiction and what the signs are is the first step to helping our children play safely online. As always, there's a lot more to say about this topic, but for now, I'll wrap things up here. As always, I welcome your comments or questions about this episode. Please don't hesitate to connect with me at deanna@proactiveparenting.com. And if you want to find out more about who I am and what I do, please take a look at my webpage, proactiveparenting.com. You can also go to Facebook and Instagram to connect with other parents just like you. Find me by searching for my name, Deanna Marie Mason. Finally, if you'd like to purchase any of my books, online courses such as Newborn Care, Breastfeeding Boot Camp, or my new audio courses, you can also find those resources on my webpage. And again, that's proactiveparenting.com. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you found this episode useful and interesting. If you did, please leave a comment and tell a friend so they can become a proactive parent too. Well, that's all for me for right now. This is Dr. Deanna Marie Mason signing off. I look forward to connecting with you again soon, but until then, take care and be well. Bye.